everyone, I'm Laurie Ellison from Hudson Valley Bookkeeping, and in today's video, it's part 3 for QuickBooks Online for Landlords setup. All right, let's get started. Hi everybody. Okay, we are on part 3 of our setup for QuickBooks Online 2024 for Landlords. And this is the plan. We're going to learn how to create a vendor, going to explain expenses, I'm going to show you how to post an expense or a check. We'll look at bank connections, and I will teach you how to understand how to post petty cash or personal payments you make on behalf of the property. Okay, let's go to our demo file. All right, let me see. I have it here. Set up vendors. Now, one thing to understand is I can teach this today on January 7th, 2024, but they changed the file and the setup of that all the time. So just know that it's there somewhere. It just may have moved. All right, so vendors is under expenses. So it says expenses, bills, vendors, contractors, mileage. So we're going to go to vendors. And here you can say add vendor. I really wanted to get out of this setup piece though. Maybe once we do one, it'll stop doing that. Okay, so let's put in Lowe's. For most things, unless you're really writing a check or something like that, you're not going to need to enter all that information. Most of this is so that your debit card or anything is there. So don't go in and worry about the address on things that are really irrelevant. Let's see again. So you'd say new vendor. You could have like the utility company, Con Edison. Okay, so it's that simple. That's how you add a vendor. Okay, understanding expenses. So it's really simple, right? Like that's all the money you spend. But in QuickBooks, there's 2 different ways you can post something. Now, in real estate, it's a little different because it's a little more old school than other businesses. And in real estate, people still do often write checks in real estate. So here we are we're calling this cash, right? So they set that up when you first set up your bank account. So I'll just make one for really quick. So we say new bank account. This is where everybody, when they're creating an expense for the chart of accounts, makes everything in the bank. So this is really important. You would change it here, but let's make you a bank account so I can show you how to post. So we'll say Chase checking. Just remember, you really don't want to be commingling. Keep one checking account per property. Okay, so here we go, view register. Now let's say we used our Chase debit card at Lowe's. So we would go here where it says add check, you hit the little down arrow, click expense, Lowe's, it's there. Repairs and maintenance. It's really that simple. If you wrote a check and you were handwriting it, not printing it out of QuickBooks, you would say check. Con Edison, you'd pick your check number, 152, 250, utilities. Okay. So let's look at the expenses they give you in your chart of accounts. So if you go here to transactions, drop down, chart of accounts. This is a standard chart of accounts that QuickBooks comes with. So we'll just explain this really quick. So you have your bank accounts. It always starts with your assets. So cash is an asset, accounts receivable, your building. Then you would have your line of credit, or even like your credit card if you had one. Then you have your income. And then you start with your expenses. So mostly for landlords, it's going to be real estate taxes, insurance, repairs and maintenance. And you can run your vehicle through it. So here we go. And mortgage interest, insurance, utilities, and so forth. So this is what it comes with. And then if you want to edit it, simplify it, and so forth, you can. So when I was posting those expenses, I was just using the pre-created ones. But again, it's mostly going to be insurance, real estate taxes, repairs and maintenance, mortgage interest, and so forth. Okay. Okay. So one of the other things I said we would go over is connecting your bank. I can't connect the bank on this file because it's not a real file. And I can't connect anyone else's bank because that would be a breach of privacy. So what I'm going to show you is how you would go about it. And then I'll show you a sample file QuickBooks has out so you can see it more. So you click here on transactions, bank transactions. And then it'll bring you up to this connect account. Okay, then what you'll do is just pick your bank, right? So if you're at Chase, you'd click that or you would type it in. You would say continue. Chase is the easiest of banks I have tried. And then what you're going to do is enter your username, your password, click sign in. It may send your phone a text. And then you're going to have to determine what day to let all of the transactions load into the account. So if you're starting this for 1/1/24, do a custom date. Okay. Now let me take you to this is their test drive. So let's go to check-in. This way you can see what it looks like. And I have quite a few videos on adding bank feeds. We call them bank feeds. Now they call them something else. Like they change the terminology all the time. But what you're going to want to do is like this one, a rental. So you can do, just as you saw me add a vendor in the vendor section, you can also do it on the fly here. A rental. Then you would say add new. And it brings us right back to where we were. Click save. That would be equipment rental, which is like a standard one in QuickBooks. And then you would click add. I'm not going to go into rules and so forth. Okay. I don't want to do any matching. So that's kind of like the only one. Okay. So that's basically what it looks like, right? So now it remembers that we said a rental and then it picked equipment rental. So that's great. And you would just click add. So you're just going to keep doing this. The main thing is to make sure you don't pick and add things that maybe you already hand entered into your register already. So talking about registers, let me take you back to the other file. So I'm going to X out of here. The other thing regarding expenses, we're not talking about deposits right now. But no matter what, you really need to go and look at what you're doing. Don't just keep adding things and pray. What you want to do is go to the register. If you're older, you understand an old check register, right? And this is what it looks like. This is how the little check registers are. And so as you post deposits and expenses, you can follow along. And this, you should be going back to this all the time. Hopefully you don't have multiple accounts. The simpler, the better. So as we learn deposits and other items on how to maintain this file, we'll go into that more. But just remember, as you spend money, like let's say you go to the ATM and you get cash. Oh, I said I would do petty cash too. So let's say we got $250 and I'm going to make a second bank account. I click new bank, petty cash. Okay. So what did that just do? So I went to the ATM, took out $250, and now I posted it to petty cash. That's not, petty cash is not an expense. So let's drop, and now we'll go to the petty cash register. So now I have $250 in my wallet, right? Now I don't recommend paying people with cash because they're not going to give you a receipt, and I don't think the IRS will allow for it. But the main piece about this is you have petty cash, you've got $250, and then every time you spend money, you have an actual receipt. Don't pay the long guy $50 because you have a tax implication because you probably should have paid him tax on the $50 and you don't have a receipt or an invoice. So always just think about how will this hold up under audit, and you don't want to pay people cash to save that little bit of money on sales tax because then you're not going, you're evading the sales tax, and then it's also, they'll probably take it back under audit. So use this petty cash account for like actual things you have receipts for. So let's say you went to Sunoco and I don't know why you didn't use your debit card, but you didn't. And look how it allows me to add it. I spent $65. I bet they have like gas or something. Vehicle and fuel. Okay. So you see what's happening here, right? Let's say the day before you went to Home Depot. It's letting me add it. That was $85.22 because that's what really happens, is nothing is a perfect amount. Okay, and our petty cash keeps going down. Then you had to go to Staples, get like a yard sign for your new rental that you're posting. Those yard signs are expensive. We'll just put it to the parent for now. Okay. And then let's say the rest of the money you just spent, right? You don't have any more, you don't even know what you did with it. It's the end of the month. You need to go get another $250. You have no idea what you did with the $34. So what you're going to do then is just put it to your draw. Because maybe you just, bought yourself something personally. It's still your money. So now we're back down to zero. We have the receipts we can account for, the rest of the money we spent on our own personal, and now we're back to zero. So now let's say it's February. We go to the ATM again. This time we say, I need a little more money. Then what did that do? Get used to going and checking your registers. You need to understand what happens when you post things. So we spent all the money. We can't account for the missing $34.78. You throw it to your draw. That is an equity account. So probably when you started, you gave the property's bank account a bunch of money, and then you take and give. So this is part of the take. Okay. Second thing I have people do with petty cash, because petty cash is basically that horrific shoebox you really shouldn't have, but you all have it anyway. So it's for all that stuff that you charge on your personal credit card. And we don't want to add that personal credit card to this QuickBooks file, unless it's a credit card completely and totally for your property. Do not add it in here. First of all, you're making privy any state agency to see all the things you spend personally on. So I don't recommend it unless it's a completely and truly strictly for business type of credit card. Any receipt you have, like I, for instance, have one right now. My husband took a computer to get fixed and he charged it to our credit card. I don't know why he didn't charge it to the company card. But so in this case, we're just going to add this amount. I'll show you what you do. We went to Best Buy. I wonder what this is. So we got this. Actually, I don't even think it's, yeah, okay. So Best Buy, the total amount $794.69, and that would go to computer expense. Computers and tablets. I mean, I wouldn't even put that to an asset. It's under 1,000, but fine. So now, look, this amount was paid with a personal card, but it was for the business, right? So that's what you do with receipts that you have that did not hit your property's bank account or your property's credit card. You're just going to enter them individually. And then you say, well, what do I do? I had this conversation with someone recently. You're just going to keep entering those. Here, let me see. I got another one. I'll make it here. It's a cash. So sometimes I have people from my office just go, I just give them cash and they go to the post office, right? USPS. This one was $2.07. So this goes on and on for the whole month. You're just going to keep any receipts you have. You should get them entered right away and get them photocopied, because these things on this kind of paper, it wears off really quick. So we always photocopy them. Okay, so now let's say, let's refresh this so it's all in the right date order. So look what happened. I added in more things. So that didn't work now, right? I made another January entry. So if that happens, you'll just go back. So what I'm saying is at the end, we had 3271 we can't account for. I like to clear it out every month. Right? So what I mean by that is I need a 3271 as my expense for January 31st. Because we want to go to zero. And if you find more receipts, enter them and then change your entry. So 3271, I said put it to owner draw. Okay, then go up and refresh it again so you get them all in the right order. It'll put the 3271 lower. And now we have it zeroed. Then we took out $300 in cash. Let's say I don't even have receipts for the property this month, but I went on my personal card and bought a computer or something, right? A tablet. So now I've got to go the other way to get it zero. I'm going to add a deposit. 228.24, 494.69. And again, I'm going to go to owner draw. You can do owner investment. I actually like that better. I'll show you why. Okay. So now you just keep doing that up and down, month after month. Every receipt that you do not have proof out of your business checking or business credit card, you throw in this thing. So you can have 5 personal credit cards that you randomly use. Just make sure you keep really good notes of like why and specifically, because it's, you just need to do that. Okay, now I just want you to see what we're talking about your equity from the draws. What's leap year? Okay, so right now we have owner investment 494.69. That was, let's see what we got. I may have had some from prior. I hate this. That was the difference to clear up petty cash. And that might be a good thing to put right here, so you know why we did it. So you know, and you want to copy this and put it in the other section, because depending on the report, you won't see your memo. Okay. And draw. So right now your net equity is the 494, take away the 3271, right? So look at the negative 3271. She had one contribution, and this is also to clear out petty cash. Okay, so let's just check what we said we were going to go over. Creating vendors, understanding expenses. The post expenses or checks. A check is something you would actually like hand write, right? Like I have a real checkbook here. So if I were to write a check, I would want to make sure I put in the check number. We looked at bank connections. I showed you what it looks like in the banking feed. And I've gone over the basics of posting petty cash or personal credit card charges that you make on behalf of the property. All right, I hope this video was helpful. All right, have a great day.